Welcome back, humanoids, to another book review on my channel, and as you can see from the title down below, today I am reviewing The Death Cure by James Dashner. This is the third and final book in the Maze Runner trilogy, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I do not know how to feel about this book right now. When I first finished it, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but after a few days of just really thinking about it, I changed it to a 3 out of 5 stars. I do think if you have read the other two, this is worth the read. It's a good book. It does give you closure to an extent, but not, I guess, what I felt like I wanted for closure. It's really hard to explain. And if you have not read this book yet, I do not want to give you spoilers of why I did not enjoy this book as much. The second book, The Scorched Trials, really was my favorite. I felt like the story in that one itself was just so well done. The action, all of the characters, was by far the best book of the trilogy. Some people say this was their favorite, but to me it was lacking a lot of things. So, like I said, if you have read the other two, I do think that it is worth finishing. I don't think you're going to walk away hating this book or disliking the trilogy because of this book, but it just didn't do it quite well enough for me. So if you have not read this book, go and read it. We do get some closure. We do get some answers about Wicked. There is kind of a closure at the end about all of our characters that we have come to love. So go finish it and then come back and we will talk spoilers, because I'm going to start talking about the main reasons why I disliked this book. At least, I didn't dislike it. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as the other two. So here comes spoiler talk. Here's your warning. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so one of the main things I hated, absolutely despised about this book was the ending. The people that had survived from the maze, Group A and Group B, went through that little portal thing into this like very vegetative, beautiful world, and basically they were there to start popping out kids and restarting humanity. And I don't know why, but this ending drove me banana sandwich. I wanted something more than just, oh, now you guys have to start making love and making babies and just start humanity all over again. I didn't get it. With all the buildup the books gave us, I guess I just didn't see that being the ending. Now, it was really cool that the chancellor or general or whoever the head honcho woman was in Wicked did help the kids escape from this terrible thing going on. That was really cool to have like someone on the inside helping them along the way, but it left like a weird taste in my mouth. As weird of an analogy as that is, I just kind of was like, really? That's how we're ending this? After all these kids went through, it's just go through this portal, new world, new humans, go at it. I don't understand it. The other thing that I really did not like about this book was Thomas drove me freaking nuts. Okay, the main reason is because, again, these are spoilers if you're still here. When he has to shoot Newt in the head, when Newt has written him the letter saying, please, if I start going batty, shoot me in the head, and, Thomas doesn't get to it right away, and then when he does, he hesitates, whatever. The way he reacts to it was just really annoying to me. Now, this is going to be a strange comparison here, but just hang with me. I had to put down my dog in October of last year. She was getting old. She wasn't eating or drinking. She was basically dying right in front of my eyes, and I had to make the choice of whether to let her suffer and die on her own or put her down myself. And it was a really hard thing. And after I did put her down, and afterward I did have and still do have moments where I'm just like, I killed my dog. I did that. She was there 1 minute, gone the next. I did that myself. But I knew that if I would have kept her alive, it would have been more painful for her and probably for us and my stepson watching her just fade away before our eyes and not being able to move. It was a horrible thing. So I understand the battling back and forth with yourself when you take a life. Now, yes, a human life is way different than a dog's life. I understand that. But I don't feel like a human would react the same way. And it's hard to explain, but it sounded whiny, more like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But it's like, you would rather have your friend who has helped you through so much. This is Newt, by the way, in case we're not following here. You would rather have him lose his mind and become basically a zombie because you are gonna. I'm at a loss for words. That's how much it's just like it just didn't make sense to me. Like, okay, I can understand being sad. Of course, I can understand you battling with yourself because, yes, you did just by your hand kill your best friend. Yes. But he came across more whiny than sad or like he was having conflicting emotions inside of him. It just came off as like a crybaby who just was like, oh, poor me, if that makes any sense. The other thing was that I was mad at Thomas at the end of the Scorch Trials for being mad at Teresa for what she did to him in that book. And in this book, it bugged me even more because James Dashner, what kind of like accent was that? Dashner. James Dashner did show and write that like Thomas was conflicting with himself on whether to forgive Teresa or not, and that he did care, but it made him mad that he did. But I didn't understand why. He knew how Wicked worked. He knew that they controlled people and that there was a lot of misinformation, miscommunication going on, and yet he was still mad at her. And then she had to die at the end for him to finally be like, you know what? Oh my gosh, I really did care. It's not her fault. Like, why? Now, I'm all about having a good death. I think deaths can mean a great thing in a story. I'm not trying to say that it was like a pointless way for her to die, but it just like, I don't know, like it made me just dislike Thomas more, like, oh, because she's dead now you care, but you couldn't forgive her for everything else. And on top of that, Brenda worked for Wicked, you know, like I just, and then the map that he got to save these kids that were, or not the kids, but these people who were in the mazes to start over again for the new trials. He was trusting the head honcho of Wicked to get those kids and those adults and everything out of the maze and into a safe haven. He trusts her, but couldn't forgive Teresa. I just, it was kind of obnoxious. As you can see, this book really just frustrates me. The more I think about it, the more I just feel like this wasn't what I wanted at the end of the story. I don't know what it is I wanted. I don't know what kind of ending would have made me been like, yes, that's so cool. Yes, I don't know how I would have written this if I would have. It just did not leave me satisfied. But it left me so aggravated. New word of the day, aggravated. Agitated and aggravated all together. It left me agitated enough to the point where I don't even want to read the prequel of how the virus started, because I feel like that should have been put in here. At the end of the book, we should have gotten every single question we had answered. That should have been, how did the virus start? Where did it start? Why did Wicked think this would work? What made Thomas and Teresa do what they were doing? I wanted to see all that. I wanted to see them like having flashbacks of them creating the maze and what their thought process was. And we get kind of snippets of that, but not enough. And I feel like if you had to write a prequel, The Kill Order, to answer some of those still like underlying questions, then I don't feel like you wrote a good ending to a trilogy, because this is supposed to be the last book, you know? Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way, but I just feel like it could have been done so much better, because it was a really good series. As a whole, I really enjoyed it. I thought that the premise itself was really, really great, and I did like the characters, and I thought it was action-packed. I liked James Dashner's writing, but I don't know, I feel conflicted. Like, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, it was so good. As a whole, I would probably rate the series a 4 out of 5 stars, but only because of the Scorch Trials. If the Scorch Trials wasn't there and it was just the Maze Runner in this book, I probably would rate it a 3 out of 5. It's good, but it's not great. I have a lot of problems with characters, and just the fact that I still feel like I don't really know what the heck I just read is not really a good sign, I feel personally. So, like I said, 3 out of 5 stars. It is a good book, and I do think you get some of your questions answered, and I know that when you get attached to characters, you want to see what happens to them. So you do get that in this story. I just don't feel like this was the best way to end this amazing series. So that is all I'm going to say on The Death Cure. If you liked this video and want to see more book reviews, go ahead and hit that like button down below and subscribe. I have many other videos on the way for you guys. And as a side note, very quickly, I did make a video last week talking about how I had purchased a microphone to do covers. Well, as luck would have it, the microphone itself does not work on my laptop, so I have to go buy an audio interface so that my microphone will work on my laptop, which is roughly around $120 that I do not have right now. So it still may be a while before I do covers, but I am planning on doing them, you guys. I promise I am not being lazy on you. They are coming. I just have to be able to get the audio onto my computer, and for whatever reason, my computer just hates me. I bought the wrong one, didn't think about this stuff all ahead of time. So I'm cutting off my jabba now. I love you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one.